Hey guys, Hijinks here, and I'm back with another video. After researching the Halloween game project, I got to thinking, could we ever get a survival game centered around a horror movie villain? We were given Friday the 13th, but due to copyright issues, that game can't really get anything expanded on it. It can only really have some maintenance. We also have Dead by Daylight, but that's not really focused on a horror movie villain as much as you can just play them. However, the answer is yes, but the real question is how. We're going to look at how we can get a survival game focused around a horror movie villain. So I hope you guys enjoy the video, and without further ado, let's hop into figuring out how can we get a survival game centered around a horror movie villain. So the key to getting a survival game based around a horror movie villain is the public domain. And for those of you who don't know what the public domain is, the public domain essentially is works that you don't need to have special copyrights, licenses, you don't have to have a monetary exchange to use. They're for everyone to use. Works with copyrights sometimes expire into the public domain, and some things are made specifically for the public domain. However, I'll give you guys some examples of works that would expire into the public domain. All works published in the U.S. before 1923. All works published with a copyright notice from 1923 through 1963 without a copyright renewal. All works published without a copyright notice from 1923 through 1977. All works published without a copyright notice from 1978 through March 1st of 1989 and without subsequent registration within 5 years are all expired to the public domain. However, Congress passed a series of laws that extended the copyright terms, and currently what it is it's the term is the length of the life of the author plus 70 years, and if it's an anonymous author or if it's a work that was kind of done without any information, it is usually 95 years from the publication date or 120 years from the date of the creation, or whatever happens first. Now, I do have a few examples of some people that fall under the public domain that we would have a little bit of an interest in. There are tons of other characters that we could look at, but these ones are names that are a little bit bigger that most people probably know about, so this would probably make for a better selling game. We have Nosferatu, Frankenstein, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, The Hunchback of Notre Dame, Sweeney Todd, Dracula, and then there's a few others. But those are our big names. If you say Dracula, everyone knows Dracula. However, I don't know the quality of a Dracula game. We have Sweeney Todd, which has a lot of open things for it. Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, which would be really interesting. But these are our big names that are sitting in the public domain at this moment. However, to use these characters, they cannot be exact copies of previous portrayals. So for instance, if you were to do Sweeney Todd, you could not take the Johnny Depp appearance without getting that permission. So you would have to make your own image of Sweeney Todd. You could do something similar, but you could not do the exact image. Now, I do also have a follow-up idea, and I'll describe that to you guys. And this is kind of an idea on how we could use copyrighted material. And essentially, what we do have to look at is statistics from Dead by Daylight and Friday the 13th. I will give a warning that my statistics are not perfect, and that there are many variables that go into it, but this is a very, very rough estimate of things that I was able to figure out about these games. So by August of 2017, Friday the 13th sold 1.8 million units at roughly $40 a game. Now, there are definitely some sales that went on during that time, and there's a variety of ways in which people could have gotten the game for cheaper. And in the past 2 years, Dead by Daylight has sold over 4 million units at around $30 per unit. And again, that as well, that number does fluctuate. There have been free months, free weekends, but we're going to exclude that for now. We're going to go based off of the 4 million, and the 30 at 1.8 million at the 40. And so, like I said, for the sake of discussion, we're also going to be leaving out DLC sales because Dead by Daylight has a lot of DLC. So we won't be looking at sales based around that, but we will be looking at what does this really mean. And again, these numbers are not 100% accurate. So what this means is that 1.8 million units at $40 a game Friday the 13th made Gun Media really roughly around $72 million prior to taxes and other expenses. Dead by Daylight, which is made by Behavior, made around $120 million prior to taxes, other expenses. Very roughly. Again, there's DLC, there are deals, and other things that went on. But again, to take an average of that, we're going to kind of add them together and divide by 2. We get about 96 million is what we're looking at the game that we're trying to possibly making. So if we were to pitch this idea, we could possibly go and look at a smaller slasher and trying to see if we can make a game by talking to one of the more smaller companies and kind of negotiate a reasonable deal. There are movies like Sleepaway Camp and Silent Night, Deadly Night that I really feel like because they're smaller and they come from smaller producers, we could probably get a good deal with them and use those characters. They're still relatively popular. And I really think this is doable because TriStar, the distributor of Silent Night, Deadly Night, hasn't had a big project since Elysium, and before that, their last big budget release was Mask of Zorro in 1998. So a deal could really be struck up with them, and I really wasn't able to find much about Sleepaway Camp's producers. So one could say that it'd probably be easy to strike up a deal with them when you show them numbers like that. However, that would be more costly. So, a survival game based around a horror movie character is doable if you were to reach out to smaller people. Now, if you want to get the bigger people in, you can't just leap up to them. However, if we were to make a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde game, or if we were to make a Silent Night, Deadly Night game and produce it and get it out there, we make the sales that we could project based off of what we see from Dead by Daylight and Friday the 13th, the big names essentially would end up adding on. People would love a Freddy Krueger game, so I can guarantee you a Freddy Krueger game would get made right away if they saw this. Leatherface would probably follow in after that, and inevitably we would probably get a Friday the 13th game that wouldn't be shut down over copyright disputes. However, to utilize this, we would have to either, again, go through using the public domain, grabbing a character that is fair use, or we would have to go and try to negotiate a deal with one of the smaller companies that have decently followed horror movie slasher villains, or horror movie villains in general. But, alright guys, that is our video. I hope you guys liked the video. Let me know what you think down below. Like the video if you like the video. Dislike it if you don't. It's alright to dislike. It lets me know what you guys are interested in seeing. Sorry this video is a tad bit longer. There is a decent amount of research on here. I did like a ton of notes, and I did try to really compact it as best I could and be as accurate as I could. But again, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you guys for checking it out. I hope you guys all have a wonderful day, night, and I hope to see you guys in the next stream, guys. And alright guys, peace.